I picture his wife just like sitting there on like the second balcony or third or fourth floor balcony, just like with a glass of wine, looking at him, just going, "What the fuck is he doing?" Welcome to 141 and 2/3%, the wrestling podcast hosted by two angry wrestling fans who could literally stop watching wrestling at any time. I'm fucking pissed. Will is sick. How's it going, Will? What's up?
I'm not sick anymore. You're pissed, but I'm doing great. You know, everything's going great in my world. Dune came out, baby. Dune came out. I'm a sandworm, just living around in sand, just soaking it up, soaking up the heat, soaking up the spice. Yeah.
Who is the closest WWE wrestler to Paul Atreides right now? Go.
Batista.
Interesting. I would say he's more like, I don't even know his name.
Sorry.
Rog.
I thought we were. I thought we were doing a 6 degrees to Paul Atreides.
Oh well, I mean that's pretty easy, but. What's his name again in that? Rogue Harkonnen? Rogan Harkonnen?
Oh, Fade Routha? Or are you thinking of Raban?
Sure, there we go. Fade Routha. Batista, yeah.
Yeah. Fade Routha is Austin Butler.
Don't pay attention
Raban,
at all.
Batista, all right? If you're looking for somebody who is the most like Paul Atreides, I think I got to go, like, just from physical looks. I don't know about his character because I haven't been paying attention to the AEW product, but I'm going to have to go with Hook.
Oh, Hook. That's a good poll.
Everybody.
Yeah, I think Hook's a pretty good one. I was thinking in the WWE universe, maybe character-wise, Dominic Mysterio, someone who was kind of a face that everyone was like, yeah, he's a face, all right, cool, and then took a hard heel turn, and no one's gonna take him seriously. I only have a cursory knowledge of the Dune books, and I know where it's going in wide brushes, but I don't know exact specifications here. I have consumed Dune like you consume every other piece of media. I just watched a couple YouTube recaps. I read Dune when I was 13, and it was one of those situations where I just needed to get through it so I could say I read Dune. I didn't absorb any of the story. When we saw Dune 1, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, and that's pretty close. The first one's close to the book. It's pretty on the dot. It's like in between scenes, but it's there. It's there. But I know how you feel. Like, Steve hates the way I consume media, which is in bite-sized chunks over YouTube videos and Wikipedia entries. But that's the way I like to do it. Okay?
I know,
with
it's
the
awful.
exception of Dune and wrestling.
It's fucking awful.
Who has the time for like all this stuff? Do you know how much content I have to pump out every single day? All right, I don't have time to consume every piece of media to create a critique on it. I have time to consume 1% of it, or maybe 141 2/3% of it.
Hello.
Aha! Name drop. And then I can create content from that. I've got podcasts about properties that I have no knowledge about, and I talk about it all the time like I'm some sort of expert.
You have podcasts about podcasts. You have podcasts reviewing your other podcasts.
Yeah, it's a feedback loop.
Welcome to the 141 and 2/3% recap podcast. My name is Will, and I'm Steve. Hey, how's it going?
That's a good Steve.
This is my Steve voice. It's dead on. Oh, hello, baby. How's it going? You want to see my tattoo of a cockroach? Oh, yeah. So, kind of speaking of Dune and wrestling, kind of Dune wrestling crossover. Can we just quickly touch on these WcDonald commercials?
Yes. Aren't they wild?
I don't know. I mean, I know this is a North American wide thing for sure. I don't know if our American listeners are getting the WcDonald commercials during their wrestling, but let me tell you, we are. It's heavily.
It's full up in there.
It's on full rotation. It's wild. And when we were when we went and saw Dune together, Dune 2 tuned. There was McDonald's advertisements all over the movie theater.
It is crazy. It's crazy how much they've embraced it. And you know what? The thing that I've noticed about myself when it comes to McDonald's is that I don't know how to digest it. You know, like I see it. I've seen the commercials. I just don't know what my opinion should be on it. Like, do I like it? Do I want them to keep doing this? Does it change the taste of the burger? Am I still going to be going to this place at 2:00 in the morning on a drive back home from Red Deer for some bum ass show?
The answer is unequivocally yes. You will continue to absorb the same amount of McDonald's on a week-to-week basis, but it's weird because, like, you know, I like it because it's different, but at the same time, it's a giant multinational conglomerate, and I don't want to give them any props. And I don't want them to be cool. I want to just hate them and eat their delicious burgers that are slowly getting more and more overpriced. I went to Wendy's today. Let me tell you.
Rebel.
I got some JBCs and they were $2.50 like the good old days. You try to get a McDouble right now and it's like $4.50.
$2. You just sold me, man. I'm good. Pause the show. I'm heading down to Wendy's.
God, I love Wendy's.
It's closed.
I think if you're a driver, if you're a drivesman, then you're okay. There's a couple Wendy's actually in town, around downtown, closer to where I live, that are just like sea cans with a Wendy's in them. And they only operate as hubs for delivery services. You can't just walk up and go, hey, 2 burgers, please. They're like, no, you have to go on Uber, select pickup, and order from there. It's wild stuff.
I've seen that like near my dentist. Whenever I hit up my dentist, I make sure I get myself a Baconator. Love me some Baconators. Oh boy,
I'm not a big fan of the Baconator. I think it's because like the tastes I enjoy in a burger are more of the acidic, like the mustards and the pickles and you know, some relish or something. But I find with the Baconator, you're just getting like meat, cheese, and like ketchup and maybe mayo
and grease. Like, look, when I have the Baconator, it's not for the flavor.
It's for the calories.
It's for the calories. It's for the pure junk that I'm about to consume. If I'm considering like if I'm considering like flavors or even like health in any sort of aspect, and whenever I go to any fast food place, then I'm probably just going to load that sucker up with, like, it's probably just going to be chicken, some sort of like grilled chicken thing.
I try not to eat chicken when I'm out and about because I eat so much of it at home. I feel like meat's...
I don't eat meat at home.
You don't eat meat at home. You don't eat meat at home. You don't eat meat at home.
See, Kate doesn't touch meat. She doesn't go anywhere near it. She doesn't like looking at it. She doesn't like looking at it. So, and I'm always busy, and how we've kind of structured our lives we're not stereotypical couple, but she does do the cooking. She's a better cook than I am. But because she does the cooking, she doesn't touch meat. She doesn't cook meat. I don't really eat meat, and I don't have time to cook the meat for my portion of the meal. So instead, I'll just eat whatever she makes. Fine with me. So I don't eat meat at home. But when I'm out and about, especially when I'm on that tour, oh boy.
Just housing burgers.
Oh boy, it's gross. It's nasty. You don't want to be in that car or a kilometer near it. It's gross. Anyway, we're about 10 minutes in. We should be talking about wrestling, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we got some news to touch on here at the top of the show. I had the Rock 21-minute promo in news, but we'll cover that at the end, right before we get into the weekly shows. Some quick things. Sting retired. Did you watch any of AEW Revolution, or did you catch any clips of it or anything?
I caught a number of clips of it, and actually I did want to kind of kick off with some of the AEW Revolution stuff. Yes, Sting retired. It looked like he had his 2 sons come out, and they're both wearing like different generations of Sting cosplay, and they got to wrestle the Young Bucks. I don't know anything about the match particularly, other than the fact that Darby Allin unsuccessfully tried to kill himself again. I'm rooting for you, buddy. You'll get there someday. And then I think I heard that he's going to Mount Everest, and he did like a promo on their weekly show of AEW saying, and I might be not coming back. I'm going to Mount Everest, and I'm going to do a swanton bomb off the top of it, probably through like 16 layers of glass this time. And we'll see. We'll see if I come back from that one. So, Darby Allin, wishing you all the best. But the big thing that happened at... there's a couple big things. I don't know if Okada debuted at Revolution or he debuted at the weekly show. I think
that was on Dynamite
this week.
Yeah.
That was on Dynamite.
So
Okada
I
debuted
watched
this
Revolution.
week.
It was I watched it very disengaged. I had it on while I was playing Baldur's Gate. So I was kind of like looking over. I really watched the Ospreay Takeshita match, which was phenomenal, and I watched the Sting match.
Yeah, that's the big one for me.
It was interesting, like I don't really want to litigate this too much because we're not really an AEW focused podcast, but I enjoyed the last Sting match. I felt like it was a bit much, and I don't really.
But that's AEW.
Yeah, and I don't really agree with Sting going out on a match like that, just because like we're not talking about Mick Foley here. This is not like Sting's MO is like these death matches. It seemed a little over the top for me for Sting, who was a pretty straightforward, down the middle traditional wrestler. But it was a fine match, I'm not a huge fan of the Young Bucks. I've enjoyed their heel turn on the parts that I've seen it when I've checked in on AEW here and there, and I know for a fact that they only really came back because Sting requested that would be their final match would be against the Young Bucks. I think the Young Bucks are pretty overrated, honestly. I also am not like I don't fucking hate them like some wrestling fans who are really tribal and despise the Young Bucks. And as a Jim Cornette listener myself, he despises the Young Bucks. And I just find it funny to listen to because the hatred that boils over in this man when discussing them.
Oh, the hatred that boils over Jim Cornette on anything is amazing to watch and listen to. It's so much fun. I have like just memes, locked and loaded on my phone of Jim Cornette just screaming about anything, and it's great.
But yeah, it was a good match all around. They fucked up the pay-per-view timing and cut him off before he could give his real farewell speech. They uploaded it later. Personally, myself, always more of a WWE guy. Not to say that I didn't watch all of Nitro during the Monday Night Wars when it was extremely relevant. And I saw his match against Triple H in WrestleMania when I was still a lapsed wrestling fan. Not a massive Sting fan. Don't hate him. But I'm not like an over-the-top crazy person about him. I think he was a respectable hand in the ring. And good promo and managed to reinvent himself. I have respect for the man, but I'm not really like not a huge Sting guy.
As somebody that's not like growing up, like obviously I liked wrestling, but I was never like super into it. Sting is one of those guys that somehow I always knew about, despite the fact that he was never really connected with WWE except for that short stint in like 2013, 2014 when he did that Triple H match at WrestleMania. So I'm surprised how much I knew about him and knew of it, but I also I was like sort of poser goth kid growing up. So seeing a wrestler that had the crow makeup on, I would gravitate towards, and I knew who Sting was, but I never really watched any matches of his. But he's just like this legend. He's just this guy that's been around forever. So I'm happy that he got to go out on the terms that he wanted to go out on. I didn't watch any of the match myself, but it just seems like it went out on a good note. And I just hope Ric Flair follows suit very soon because he's going to die.
Well, he's already had his retirement match. Like, he's done officially at this point. It's just that he just can't stay away from the limelight. He'll do anything. You could see it even when I was watching that match. They introduced Flair and he got like a mini pop. They super kicked him. They dual super kicked him.
Jesus Christ.
Like, when they introduced Flair, people, like, it's Charlotte. People love him. And he got a pop, but, like, he hasn't really ever gone away. And then when they introduced Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, people were like, fuck it, it's Ricky! It's the goddamn dragon! Yeah. Because, like, you don't really see him doing anything. So, yeah, hopefully Flair can find peace before he rests in peace, honestly. Because it just seems like he just can't turn it off. Sting seemed, in my experience, following Sting's career on the sidelines, Sting's wanted to retire for like 20 years, and the people just won't let him. They just keep throwing more money at him, and he's like, all right, I guess, sure, I'll keep going. Even like in the post, the press conference after the retirement match, they're asking what he was going to do next to the AEW, and he's like, well, I don't really want to manage, and I don't really want to book, and I don't want to really produce, Because he just wants to go to bed.
Go to bed.
And it's
fine. Go to bed. It's fine. You've earned it. Do that. You know what? If you just want to kick your feet up and play Elden Ring for the next 6 years, fucking do it. I want to do that.
100%. Yeah. He's made so much money. He's made more money than he could spend in the rest of his life. So just give the man some peace and let him go home. Moving on, the first Hall of Fame announcement for the WWE Hall of Fame induction for Mania this year has been announced, and it is Paul Heyman, which is a great call. It's overdue. Obviously, it's difficult to induct him when he's still so active, but they're in Philly. He's the king of Philly wrestling. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe a controversial take here. I don't want him to be in character for this. How do you feel about it?
I don't know if he's ever been out of character.
I see what you're saying. That's true to a large extent. But I really want him to. I don't want to hear anything about the blood. I want to be able to watch this speech in 20 years and have it feel contemporary to some extent. I don't really want him to talk about his tribal chief and the bloodline and all that stuff, unless it's, a part of a larger soliloquy that he's delivering on the nature of his career. And I really don't want him to be in character for it. I won't hate if he is, but I just if you hear me, Paul, just shoot straight from the heart. Talk about your career. It's been a wild career from, Paulie Dangerously and WCW and then his ECW days, and then his, moving on to commentary in ECW 2 and WWF, and then, Punk and Lesnar. Oh, sorry, not allowed to say his name. Punk and Beep and Reigns, and I want him to talk about his career, but I really don't want him to do it as the wise man character. But we'll see where it goes. I'm very interested to see who ends up inducting him.
I hope he stays in complete character. I hope he's wearing that necklace thing. I hope he's doing his little pray movement the entire time. I hope in the middle of it, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins get up and leave in a big old fuck you to Paul Heyman. No, I'm with you. Sure. I just want, I don't really watch speeches or or Hall of Fame stuff really. But I'm with you. I think this is well deserved. The guy's a legend. And the fact that he's as active as he is for how long he's been doing it. I mean, I think he's even more popular now than he's been in his entire career. So it's a great time. It's a great time to do this.
I wouldn't say he's popularity is a weird term, but he's just as relevant as he's ever been, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
But he's not really the mouthpiece for the bloodline as much as he was the mouthpiece for Lesnar. That's probably when he peaked because, Lesnar's not exactly a wordsmith on the mic. So it was good to pair him up with Paul and have Paul be his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
What else? Yep. I guess just finishing up, we'll just acknowledge that Paul Butcher Vachon has died. He was Mad Dog's brother, Luna Vachon's adopted father, proud NDP candidate in Quebec. Shout out to my left-wing brothers. And, multi-time cancer survivor. Had cancer 3 times starting in the 90s. And lived a long, full life. So props to him, Canadian legend. He retired young. He retired at 38 in 1985 and lived a very full life after wrestling, which is always nice to see as well. But yeah, they acknowledged it on the broadcast as well, which continues the run of them acknowledging people who really didn't work for WWE, and I appreciate that, and I hope they keep that up.
They did that with Sting as well during Monday Night Raw this week.
Yeah, which was cool too, especially when he's working directly for the competition. I also heard some things come out that there's a few people on WWE Legends contracts that requested to attend Sting's last match, and a lot of them got the yes, as long as they didn't appear on camera or not directly associated with AEW in any way. Which, again, is a move that doesn't seem like it would have happened, 5-10 years ago under Vince's dictator-like leadership.
Yeah, he would have outright declined it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to put words into anybody's mouth, but yeah, no, it seems like there's some positivity going around here. Going back on Butcher here, 38 at 1985, retiring at that age. That's like 52 in 1985 years, though. It does make sense to retire around then.
He lived a hard life, you know? Like those, like I feel like I'm gonna be one of those people when I'm like 50 because of how hard I live my life. People are gonna be like, he looks like he's 75. Like when you watch like old movies, and like Sean Connery's playing James Bond, and you're like, he looks like he's 60, and it turns out he's like 32.
I don't know. I think you think that you live a hard life. I think you're just angry, and thus you think you live a hard life.
I mostly just mean like my alcohol and cigarette consumption is closer to that. I mean, like that's the thing you forget.
It is out of control.
The people in like this,
about this. It's out of control.
The people in like the 60s and 70s were like literally drinking every day, literally all day, and smoking like 2-3 packs of cigarettes. Like as someone who smokes, still, unfortunately, I choke at the numbers some of these people throw out for the amount that they smoke. You know, like I consider myself a heavy smoker in the modern era, but I only really smoke like 8 cigarettes a day. You fucking look at some of the numbers of these people. They're smoking like 2-3 packs a day. That is like, 2 packs a day is 48 cigarettes. 50 cigarettes. And 3 packs a day is 75. I don't even know how you find the time to do that.
Traits. Working outside.
And being able to smoke indoors too, I guess really helps that too, right?
Absolutely. Smoke on the airplane, smoke at the gas station, pump the gas, smoke.
Everything. And I guess like, you know, even just like the general, like I am healthy in other ways. I bike a lot, I exercise a lot, I eat healthy, except for the Wendy's, except for having 3 JBCs today. But for the most part,
first 10 minutes of this podcast.
Exactly. But like, you know, compared to most people nowadays, no, not healthy. But compared to someone from, say, probably any time before 2002, killing it. I could have been like a health guru in 85.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, look at how much discipline he has. He bikes to work and he only smokes 8 cigarettes a day. Jeez, he's the Messiah.
He's the Lisan al-Gaib.
He's the Lisan al-Gaib. I was thinking, before we... let's quickly, in the next minute, can we just run down all of the names Paul has? So we got Paul Atreides.
We got
Muad'Dib. Lisan al-Gaib.
Lisan al-Gaib.
The Duke of, I guess, Duke Atreides of Catalan? I don't remember his planet.
Oh, man. Okay, shut up.
What's his planet?
We have Paul. We have Paul Atreides, all right? He is the Duke of Caladan. He is the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yep.
He has his Fremen public name is Muad'Dib. His Fremen private name is Usul.
Which definitely sounds like someone who's going to help with the bloodline at WrestleMania. Oh, God, it's Usul. He's coming. He's got a sandworm.
His messianic name, which isn't necessarily his name, it's just what the Fremen term for Messiah is, Lisan al-Gaib. And then I think I covered it. I think I covered it all. So 6 names in general. And Mahdi. I don't know if I said Mahdi.
Mahdi.
But Mahdi is another messianic name for him.
Mahdi, help. All right. Okay, let's get into it.
I know my Dune, baby.
You know your Dune. Everyone check out Chapter by Chapter podcast. SmackDown, March 1st, from the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Actually, before we even touch on this, I'm gonna timestamp this as the intro to our SmackDown part in the info notes of this podcast. But let's talk about the 21-minute Rock promo.
Wow. Just wow. On the eve that I see Dune, and then I get this, you know?
The best part, I think, not the best part, but one of the best parts is that he posted a 16-minute video, deleted it, and then posted the extended version where he just took a big dump down Seth Rollins' mouth.
I loved it. And you know what? I I feel like I gotta address the fact that I was very anti-Rock for the last couple of episodes because he's elbowed his way into his WrestleMania spot. The fact that there's nothing that we can do about it, and it's The Rock, and he's going to get what he wants. The fact that he's pivoted in this way to be this version of Rock, and I felt like watching this video, we're watching him method act. Like he posted, like I felt like he was in character all day. He was probably like anything anybody handed to him, he just slapped it out of their hands.
I love how you could watch the sunset as he delivered the promo.
Yeah.
He picked the perfect time of day for it. His like automatic porch lights are coming on.
Yeah.
Some highlights for me, like it was a little rambling at times, but surprisingly concise for a 21-minute promo. I will give him props. Like he fit a lot into it, and it flew by. A couple of my highlights, calling Seth Rollins the walking clown emoji. Really liked that. Really, really loved that. And then, of course, he just absolutely stuck the landing, where he said, "Cody Rhodes, from the bottom of my heart, man to man, fuck your story." And then paused and then leaned into the camera like he was whispering in Cody's ear and said, "Fuck your story." So good.
Oh, just lean into it. Lean into it, Rock. Let's go. Just be a dick. I loved it. I think for me, those two, I think I share those. And then when he started talking about Cody's dog and just started like just bringing Cody's dog out of nowhere.
I forgot that he shit on Pharaoh.
And your goofy ass dog. And I'm just like, what is going on here? He's just being a dick for no reason to this poor dog. It's a cute dog. Just loved it. It's just, he's such an ass. It's so good.
Oh my God. It was so great. And, you know, I wonder, like, what his day was like. Because obviously it was filmed probably, I don't know, well, when's the sun setting here right now? About 6:30-ish. So he's in LA. He's quite a few, he's a bit south. So, you know, probably like 7:30 in the night, in the afternoon. All day, is he just stewing? Is he a Mark Wahlberg? Do we know? Is he one of those guys who gets like 5 hours of sleep and wakes up at 4 and then just starts fucking lifting and eating and getting on it?
It's well documented that he doesn't sleep. He sleeps like 2 hours a night. And even then he's probably lifting. And then he gets up and he just starts going. He just starts lifting and he's in. I bet he was doing this. I bet he did his entire fucking day in character. I bet he did it.
Did he just build it up? Did he have notes, or was it just off the dome? Or, you know, did he just finish dinner and go, "I got an idea, baby. I'll see you in half an hour." And just went into his backyard and set up his tripod, put his phone on there, and then just unloaded.
What's Dad doing outside?
Picture his wife just like sitting there on like the second balcony or third or fourth floor balcony, just like with a glass of wine, looking at him, just going, "What the fuck is he doing?" You know, this is the equivalent of the way our significant others look at us when we're podcasting about this. It's like, "Oh, there he goes again, down to the basement."
My half of this, and it's just nonsense. So yeah, I can just imagine like her sitting up there, just going, "What in the fuck is he talking about?"
God,
the dog.
Really
what dog? Whose dog?
Why is he yelling about a dog?
He's really old now, eh?
Oh,
somebody outside with a dog?
So good. So good. All right, anything else you want to touch with that, or should we go to SmackDown?
No, let's keep it going. Let's try to get this down to an hour and a half.
Yeah, good luck with this one. We're already 30 minutes in. Okay, so we lead off with the Bloodline. Some great heel work by Roman, asking for the repeated acknowledgments from the Glendale crowd. Roman says, you know, he's going to leave. Paul comes in with his little shit-eating fucking groveling face going, "No, we can't leave. The Rock's coming out."
My tribal chief.
My
tribal chief.
We can't, my tribal chief. Teases it out of the break.
McDonald's has got to sling some fucking big whacks at us, man.
So he teases the Rock out of the break. They go into the break. Some carny shit at its finest. Just like, don't go anywhere, folks. The Rock's coming out right when we come back from this commercial. So watch a couple McDonald's commercials, learn about the hazards of mesothelioma, and make sure you don't go anywhere because we're coming back with The Rock. So we come back from the break, and finally, The Rock has went back to Dan Flash's. He has an even bigger shirt with a more intricate pattern than last week. Or 2 weeks ago, I guess. It was probably
$10,000.
Holy shit, this fucking shirt. I absolutely adore this because it's such a subtle callback. I don't even know how many people are really, getting that part of it, you know? I'm starting to get old. It's been 25, 30 years since Nation of Domination Rock. And this is just a straight up... He is just acknowledging his past with these shirts. When he was, taking over the Nation of Domination from Farouk. Ron Simmons, for anyone who has half a brain. Just incredible. This shirt was wild. And he also turned around and showed us the back of the shirt.
I love that.
Look at this. Love that he just... Look at how intricate this is. I got the fucking Virgin Mary on my back.
You could... Was it a Virgin Mary? I couldn't... It looked like
I have no fucking clue what it was.
It looked like a rabbit or something. I had no fucking idea, but I'm all in on this. That shirt, it's so crazy. It is so crazy. The lines, they're intersecting, the colors, nuts.
I've been looking at these shirts online and really trying to budget out how I can justify buying one of these. Because I know that, number one, you're going to love it. Number two, my brother's going to love it. Number three, my fiance is going to fucking hate it.
Oh, yeah.
If I wore that shirt with my big fur coat, I think she'd break up with me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she's out the door.
And if I wore it with nothing underneath, too, with 4 buttons undone, which is the top bit of my ever-expanding gut, just poking out of that button. Oh, man. I really want to do it. I wonder if I can get a fake one on DHgate or AliExpress.
Oh man, if you're having a bachelor party, or if it's for my bachelor party, you've got to wear this.
Oh man, I am really strongly considering it. It's a wild choice, but I love it so much. I just I've bought a lot of stupid sports shit that I wear once a year at best.
Yeah, but nothing's gonna look as good as this though.
Exactly.
Fucking jerseys.
Yeah,
jerseys
you're gonna buy another
joke,
fucking
a little
jersey.
Ha-ha on it. Fuck that.
It would just absolutely kill.
Get yourself down over the Dan Flashes. All right, dress like a real man.
So The Rock comes out. It's very hard for the crowd not to cheer him. You know, he's still. You got to remember, every time he's coming out here, it's the first time for these fans to see The Rock. So, in each individual city. So it's very hard for them not to cheer him.
Yeah.
I get it. I get chills every time when I see him come out. There's still just something about that music hitting and the crowd pop. It gets me going, So I understand. Everyone pops for him. But I appreciated that the music hit, they gave him the pop, and then they just start booing him mercilessly. Almost immediately. Very nice bravo for 15,000 people to naturally choreograph this. That they all felt the same way as me. It was great. I loved it. It was perfect. I also wanted to point out that once he gets to the ring, one of the best signs I've ever seen at a wrestling event was on not the first row, but within the first 10 rows behind in the hard camera angle. Someone had a shirt, had a sign that said yes, thank you, The Rocky The, which is a reference to a Simpsons bit where Sideshow Bob has Die Bart Die tattooed on him, and they ask him what it's about, and he says it's German for the Bart The. And that fucking sign made me pop so hard that I had to pause the broadcast as I almost literally was rolling on the floor laughing and texting 8 different people. Oh my God.
I got a text. Yeah.
You got one. Steve got one. all my Simpsons and wrestling fan friends got them because it was just incredible. All my Simpsons fan friends, I'm like, hey, I know you don't watch wrestling, but there was the sign, this happened, the Rocky V, it's so great. All my wrestling fans got, I know you don't watch The Simpsons, but, okay, the Rocky V is actually a reference to, oh man, it was so good. I had so much joy seeing that side.
That's almost like, that's a little dangerous too for the non-wrestling fans, because if they see the Rocky V and they go like, oh, why do they have that? And then you imagine the Pandora's box of explaining the lead up to that sign. It's a little easier to explain the Simpsons reference to a wrestling fan who hasn't seen Simpsons.
That's true. But, no, that's very true. It was much easier.
Yeah, explaining a wrestling reference to a Simpsons fan, whew, especially with that.
But for the couple friends that I have that are both, like, I think, like, Steve is from that generation of wrestling fans, so he was probably loving it because he's a big Simpsons fan and he's a big wrestling fan from that era, so he gets it. And so The Rock now is in the ring, and holy fuck, they just gave him carte blanche. Hey, Rock, you're a member of the board. Say whatever the fuck you want. We don't give a shit. Calls them cactus-loving crackheads. Starts going into Solo. Solo trying so hard not to crack. He's like wiping his face and stuff because he just wants to start dying with laughter. Just talking smack all over the place. Incredible.
Jimmy can actually like break because it's part of his character.
Yeah, he's allowed to. Yeah.
Poor Solo, man. Solo has just to sit there with that just smug, like just that like anger face on the entire time, and I know he's loving it, especially when he goes like, "You want Solo to sing the national anthem," and he like the look on his face like, "Good God, this is so good."
You know, we had a little insight to Solo when we talked about the "I hate math" tweets. You know, like he's just a regular dude who's got to play this character. He's also like super young. I think he's like 25 or something. Like he's pretty young,
a kid,
and. You know, this guy that he's probably looked up to his whole life. He's, you know, The Rock, yes, he is like kind of his family, but he's also just like a half Samoan role model for all of these people. And you've watched these promos growing up, you know The Rock, and he's doing it to you and you're in the ring. You're like, this is, for him, it's got to be incredible.
It's amazing. It's a moment for everybody right now. It's so good.
So Rock talks a whole bunch of smack about Cody and Rollins, and then he floats the tag match that I want to die in a fire at this point. You know, I've discussed on this podcast how little I want to see this tag match, mostly just because I thought it would usurp the actual match we want to see, which is Roman and Cody.
Yeah.
But they kind of throw a little curveball in it. You know, Rock says, I don't want to fight you one-on-one, Cody. I want to do the tag match, but if you beat us on night 1, the night 2 match will be free of the bloodline. If we win, the night 2 is going to be bloodline rules, which essentially means, you know, no holds barred, no countouts, no DQ, lazy booking, Solo's thumb singing the national anthem. This is what we all want in a way. You know, I think that's where we're going to go with this, honestly. I think they are going to win night 1 and build that up for night 2. And then we'll see the Avengers come out and help Cody with the bloodline.
I could see that probably being what's going to happen. And like that kind of almost aligns with my theory that I've talked about maybe once or twice on the show of the handicap match of Rock and Roman versus Cody, without being an actual handicap match, and in fact, like just raising the stakes for Cody a little bit more, because now you have the whole bloodline, you have the whole Thanos initiative going up against him. So it follows that. I think I was thinking about it today because I was rewatching SmackDown, and I just don't know any other way to do it. I think they found like the through line, the best through line that they could, given the circumstances that they were given. I think if it was any other, clearly now I think it's a pivot. If they wanted to do what they wanted to do, it'd be Rock versus Roman, and then Cody versus somebody else maybe on night one. But with the way that the crowd wanted it, I think this is as good as we could get. You know?
Right. Yeah. I like where they're going with this. The only thing I don't really like about it is it's going to push some matches off the card, and I hope they pick the right ones to push off. Because there is a lot of great talent right now in the WWE. Now, mind you, it is WrestleMania with 2 nights, and they have a pre-show on both. It's going to be like 8 hours of wrestling over those 2 days. So, it's also something I want to discuss with you, because we need to figure out what the fuck we're going to do for Mania. I think it's going to be a 2 podcast week, right? We're going to have to at least 2, maybe 3.
Oh, I'm ready. I already booked the time off. I've got Friday and Monday off for WrestleMania.
That's incredible.
I'm ready to go. Baby. You want to record on Friday? Let's go. You want to record live stream on Saturday? Let's do it.
Should I just set up the basement apartment for you, and you can just live here for 4 days?
Yeah, we could do that.
See you, Kate.
Absolutely.
If you want to come over.
I'm in WrestleMania. Oh, she will want to watch WrestleMania.
Yeah, more than Sharon will, that's for sure.
Absolutely. She's invested in this. Her family's invested in WrestleMania right now. I was just on the phone with her dad, and he's talking about spending like $2,000 going down to Philadelphia to sit in the parking lot and listen to WrestleMania.
Incredible. Yeah, her parents are straight up marks, huh?
They love it.
They're like hardcore, like, we don't want to talk about that. It's fake. We don't want to acknowledge that out loud. This is real. Shut the fuck up.
It's weird for me. Part of it is like when you're talking about a heel, like Dominic, for example. Like, I love Dominic. And when I'm like talking to them, I'm like, oh, he was so good. I love this bit when he was doing this. And the looks I get, they're like,
you like Dominic? You're a fucking monster.
He's a puke. He's a little puke. And I'm like, but isn't he doing like such a great job? No, he can't wrestle. But
they just don't want to talk about it. I love that. I know
that they know. I know that they know. But
no, of course, but I love that they're not even like actively doing it on purpose. They've like come to this point in their life where they've decided, like, you know what? I'm sure they haven't even talked about it. It's just like an inherent agreement that we're pretending this is real and don't fucking talk about how it's fake. I don't want this ruined for me.
I know. And then you have an asshole like me, the city slicker, showing up, breaking the illusion. I can just imagine like how much they hate me whenever I do that.
Oh, it's like me. It's like me with everything. It's like my entire existence. I live for meta-textual nonsense jokes and reactions, no matter who I'm talking to. And it ruins me for people. People are like, fuck that guy. That guy fucking sucks. Because I am so willing to bury myself to laugh at it later that it like alienates me to people. People are like, I don't like that guy. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm playing that character. And when I get the reaction, I just love playing the heel. And I'm like, oh shit, they bought it. They think I'm an asshole. But that doesn't work when you're not making money off of it. It just makes people hate you.
Oh yeah. I had a situation once at a party of yours where, for listeners that aren't friends of ours, there was like a 2 or 3 year period where I had this bit going where I hated Tyler.
It was wonderful. It was so good.
It was
so good, guys.
I would just like speak the worst things about him to anybody.
So
anybody would just say the name Tyler, and I would be like, that fucking prick. And I'd always still go back to like this time. It came from like our first like this first attempt at a podcast like 2 or 3 years ago. Anyways, I kept this bit going for years, and then at a party I was doing this bit, and this person heard me doing this bit, and instantly it was like, Will's a prick. And went to Tyler and was like, you should not be friends with that guy. That guy hates you.
And it just made me fall more in love with you than ever. I was like, see, Will fucking gets it. If you commit to a bit, that like makes you the asshole and unites people against you, I am so here for it, because that's like my entire sense of humor. And I have like I'm sure I've alienated people in your friend group, or like some of Steve's other friends, or Sharon's other friends.
I'm sure.
And they're like, fuck that guy. It's like,
Absolutely.
I get it, but that's the whole bit. And
look,
I love
it's a character.
I love it.
It's
so
a character.
much.
And look, I'm sorry to that person, but Tyler is a prick. There's nothing I can do about it.
It's worth. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I want you to bury me. I want you to go with kayfabe. I want you to be like, yeah, he is a fucking dick, and I'm forced to hang out with him, and I hate it.
I think I had a couple drinks in me too, and I think I went over the line on a few things.
I love it. Dark. I'm here for it. It's so good. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so just quickly to finish off the Bloodline segment, Rock starts doing, if you smell, Roman stops him. He's been looking a little pissy during this whole promo. He says, I just need something from you before we continue this. I need you to acknowledge me. And Rock fucking does it, which is so good. Such great heel work. The crowd just boos with their entire heart. He literally acknowledges him. And then he tells the whole crowd to go smoke crack. Because he could literally say whatever the fuck he wants. And now,
The Rock, baby.
We're like 40 minutes in, and we still have a whole wrestling show to go.
It was a 30-minute promo. No commercials. All cut. All just on The Rock. Nothing,
I'm here for it.
No deviations. It was insane. They had one commercial at the beginning with Paul Heyman even announcing it so that everybody got their fill in so we can go watch McDonald's for like 30 seconds. And then we got a 30-minute promo from The Rock. It was bonkers. And at the end of it, he still couldn't point right.
He still can't point right. He still can't do it. Someone's got to give him some notes. I know no one's managing him here.
Wacky theories when it comes to that point, but I think he just can't bend his thumb properly. I think
that might very well be it.
Well, think of the weights the boy is pushing out all the time. Like, his thumb's probably stuck. Like, what he needs to do is go talk to Solo. He needs to go to Thumb Academy here, get some workouts. He needs some thumb workouts. Because Solo knows what he's doing, all right? He's been jamming that thing into places.
Yeah, and he can still bend it.
He's still good.
Gotta get those thumb exercises.
Yeah, man.
So let's whip through some more of the SmackDown stuff as quick as we can. So we get some Theory and Waller backstage. LA Knight's looking for AJ, which is going to be an ongoing bit throughout the night that I really enjoyed. Because it's weird, because like with the whole Rock and Bloodline and Cody, it's like an independent story.
It's
like
some show.
Once you hit Theory and Waller backstage, you're like, oh, right, we're watching SmackDown. I forgot.
Yeah, it's its own show. This whole Cody Brock Bloodline thing is its own show, and they've been doing a smart job on both SmackDown and Raw of front-loading it and then putting it at the end, and then putting the rest of the product in the middle. I like that a lot because it segments it in a nice way so that you can keep up with the other storylines without it interfering with other things going on. So I like that. I appreciate that. And then, you like when you get the cut to this with Waller, Theory, Orton, and LA Knight, you're like, okay, now the show is starting. And
it's they lead with the Bloodline stuff, or they end with the Bloodline stuff, and everything in between is also still good. There are some weak points, but you kind of forget it in the moment because you're so invested in the Bloodline stuff that your brain just shuts off. You're not sitting like when you're watching. Let me look ahead here. When you're looking at Tiffany Naomi, you're thinking about Bloodline stuff. When you're watching the Bloodline stuff, you're not going, geez, I wonder what LA Knight and AJ Styles are up to this week. You were just so fully invested on everything that they're saying. It's just driving so much of the storyline forward, and it's so compelling. It's difficult to think of anything about it, anything but it in the moment.
I also think it's a bit of a crowd work strategy, because I noticed this immediately after the We Want Cody movement after that weekend. The crowd would start chanting "We want Cody" during matches that didn't involve anybody from that storyline. So I think by front loading it and giving the people what they want and giving them a little bit of story at the top, negates the need for people to start like chanting and doing that bullshit, because it will derail the show and it would take people out of it. They want people to be focused in on the product at the moment.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think it's a little bit of crowd psychology, crowd work management at the same time. So yeah, it's smart. It's smart booking, not smart booking, but I can see why they're doing it that way.
Yeah. So Theory and Waller are backstage. LA Knight is looking for AJ. Randy Orton overhears them. Theory and Waller laughing at the Logan Paul KO that with the brass knucks. He challenges either of them to a match, and Waller just fucking buries Theory and offers him up, which is hilarious. So that's where we're going to go later with that. Let me get Tiffany on their way to the ring already. They're trying to catch up. I'm sure they burned a lot of time with the bloodline stuff. Naomi's already in there. I already could smell a squash match, kind of, with the intro, but probably more just of, again, a time thing with the bloodline stuff. Tiffany is over. Hard.
Really over.
Very shocking right to me. You know, like, I'm not a hardcore wrestling. I mean, I have a fucking wrestling podcast, but, you know, because of that, I don't really have time to watch NXT that much. I don't have time to watch AEW that much. And, you know, I was singing her praises since we started the podcast that I was a big Tiffany guy, and I was very excited for her to come up to the main roster. I'm very shocked that the general public is fully in on her. Like, they are all about her, and I read somewhere that the WWE is shocked as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's got it. She's got it. Every time
really
I watch
does.
her, she's great.
Yeah,
she's great.
But it was a very measured match. It had a heavyweight feel, you know, not a lot of high flying stuff. Very traditional wrestling kind of stuff. I
thought Naomi's performance was a little bit more solid than it was in Elimination Chamber. Like, there was a little bit more.
I agree with that. Yeah,
hits.
I think she's a better one-on-one wrestler in general.
Sure, yeah.
She knows how to put together a match. She's kind of a vet at this point, so she knows the ebbs and flows. And I think when she's not getting interrupted by other people in the match, she really can focus in on the story she wants to tell with the match.
For sure.
Tiffany had a bit of cheating, but mostly a clean win and a huge pop on the 3 count. So
huge pop.
I have to imagine you could do a Rhea thing and make her an a Rhea/Drew thing, make her an over heel and just keep having her heel, but, you know, have the crowd be behind her, and that's fine. We'll see where it goes, because I don't really think there's a path for her to be a babyface. I think she works better in this role as like a smug anti-hero as opposed to just a traditional straight-up shit heel. So we'll see where they go with it, but it's interesting to see, and I'm very happy for her that she's immediately gotten over.
Yep. And I bet she's stoked as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially, like, she's only really been wrestling for, like, 4 years or something, which is just wild.
I think she's, like, what, 24, 25?
She's incredibly young and just dialed into the business, like, her age.
Jacked as shit, bro.
Yeah,
Arms
jacked, pretty. Like, she is what the WWE salivates over. Like, her body type, her move set, her ability on the mic. Like, they have huge plans for her, I have to imagine. So now we get Damage Control's heading out. Here comes Bayley and Dakota. At the top of the match, I'm wondering if they're going to do the betrayal right away or kind of leave it for a few weeks. We still got a while to go before Mania. As I'm watching the match...
You saw the betrayal coming.
I saw... Oh, yeah, I've talked about it here. I thought it was almost certain that it was going to happen.
Lisa Al-Gaib.
She shouldn't have went south. That's the thing. They went to Australia. They went south, Will. You shouldn't have done it.
They did. You're right. Lisa Al-Gaib. Look, I have short-term memory loss. I forget everything always. I didn't see it coming, so when I saw her go for the tag and she jumped from the ropes, I was like, "What? Betrayal!" And I was a little bit more intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this coming. I assumed this was coming. I didn't know if it was coming at Mania. I don't think EO's from just like a smart fan standpoint. I don't think EO is going to win the belt at Mania. I don't think he's going to retain. I think Bayley's going to win, and they're going to give Bayley that moment. So I didn't know if if Dakota was going to betray her leading up to it and make it part of the storyline, or if they were going to wait right till the very end. I was kind of noticing as the match started, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize Dakota Kai is wrestling. This is great. She's actually in there in the ring.
Yeah.
Storylines aside, good for her. I'm happy that she's back. I think she's an excellent wrestler. I've sung her praises before on this pod. But, as the match progresses, Bayley's doing the yeoman's work. Very professional. Just fucking care. I don't want to be too negative here, but Kairi Sane is awful. She is so bad at this. And when she was last in WWE, I was still in that point where I was watching, Rumble, Mania, maybe SummerSlam, maybe 3 Raws a year, couple SmackDowns. And every time I saw her, I thought, oh, here's a Joshi who's doing her thing. But I wasn't too analytical about it. But now that we're watching, and I'm really watching, me especially, I'm watching every match, no distractions, making notes. She is bad at this. She needs another career. Huh. She's not a good wrestler. For someone who's been doing it this long, she's so sloppy and slow and weak and disrespectful. Not even just in a heel way, to your co-workers in this worked business. I am shocked at how bad she is. And I didn't really notice it before when I'd catch 1 or 2 matches of her a year. When I was probably like, oh, this match, I don't really care about it. I'm on my phone. I'm not paying attention. I just am shocked with how bad she is at this. And I can't wait till they drop the belts. Dakota, you were talking about it. Dakota bails on the tag, and now I start to think, oh, wait, she's not wrestling. She took 1 bump on the side and a few shots from Bayley. She probably still isn't fully healed. I think she got hurt in May or June. I was watching again at that point, and it was a full, I think, ACL, if I'm not mistaken, which does take a long time to come back, especially with her build. The more slight people have a problem coming back from that, in my experience with other sports. They do the betrayal right away. They're leading with it now, and I guess that's going to be the build up to Mania. They all pile on Bayley. They're celebrating backstage after the break. We see LA Knight in the background still looking for AJ with a chair. And Damage Control gets to do a bit of a stare down with Jade. They're doing what they're doing. It's fine. It's not as captivating as I wish it was. I think all of this should have happened a long time ago. It's not terrible, It's not the girls who love to dance in this. All these people can wrestle to some extent, except for Kairi. But I'm not very compelled because I really do. I can't imagine a situation where Bayley doesn't win. I guess I'm more interested in the aftermath of this. Bayley's going to win at Mania. Where do we go from here? So for now, it's kind of just in a holding pattern for me. I could be wrong. Io could win. I really love Io as a wrestler. Love that she's had the belt this long. Great for her. But right now, this whole storyline for me is not really doing it, just mostly because I know where we're going. I feel like I know where we're going, and I just kind of want to see what happens next. And that's not going to be for a month and a half.
Cool. I don't have anything to add to that.
Fine. Braun Breaker comes out barking like his pop, which I really loved. And we cut to Xyon Quinn already standing in the ring.
Quinn.
And oh boy, he's going to go down for sure. But I did not think it was going to happen this quickly. Braun just straight up ding, ding, ding. Braun spears him 3 count. That's a bit.
Missed it. I missed it.
You fast forwarded by accident.
No, I was looking for the remote because I wanted to turn it up, and then I missed it. And then suddenly I was like, oh, did the broadcast skip or something? Because I was using the Sportsnet app, and the Sportsnet app sucks, and sometimes it skips, it kicks me out, and anyway. I was like, oh, something went wrong. So I rewind a little bit, started and paid attention, turned it up. I was like, all right, let's watch a Braun Breaker match, and it was done. Holy shit. And he just screams at him.
Yeah.
Xyon Quinn.
That was a bit much for me, honestly. Like, I get a squash match, but poor Xyon, like, he's not going anywhere now after that. Like, you can't. It's going to be very difficult for them to build him into a respectable wrestler after just getting absolutely crushed by Braun.
He's at NXT, eh?
Yeah. And he's not really much in NXT either. But, to my knowledge, again, not a big NXT guy. I'll catch maybe one a month on average. Yeah, I'll just absolutely eliminated. See you later. So now we're going into the Carlito Santos street fight. I feel like this would be more appropriate for like a non-important PLE. Like, you know, we don't really have one of those in line right now, which kind of makes sense. But like, this feels like a September pay-per-view match more than a Raw match. A SmackDown match.
Because it's this is the second street match in like a month period.
Yeah, and I was going to talk about that too. Like, I guess like the rivalry isn't hot enough to be on Mania, and they need to move on with these people. So I guess it makes sense for it to kind of inject it into SmackDown close to the top of the hour. You know, great job by Cody Graves dropping the Bruiser Brody and Abdullah the Butcher references. In regards to Puerto Rico and street matches, I don't know if that clicked for you at all. As someone who's not really as big of a wrestling fan as me,
I was reading Dune.
Loved that. Let's catch it up on Dune. I really, really, really appreciated that call out, and I did read an article earlier this week that said that all the announcing teams were very appreciative of that Triple H isn't micromanaging them the same way Vince was.
I heard about that. Yeah.
That was just such a nice, subtle touch by Corey Graves and made me really respect him. I mean, it's not like deep lore knowledge, but it's a little subtle thing that, you know, maybe most people like you are not going to pick up on. But for me, I just eat that shit up. I'm like, you know, bravo for bringing that up, because Puerto Rico, right, for those of you who don't know, including Will, big deathmatch wrestling hotbed. A lot of violence very early. We're talking 20, 30 years before ECW. That is where the barbed wire and the nails and the cutting and the bleeding was happening long before it was happening in North America proper.
With the cutting and the bleeding.
And then immediately they start chanting, "We want tables," which to that I say, hey guys, shut the fuck up. But then they start chanting, "We want apples." And I'm all in.
Let's get the apples going.
I like these fans. And then Carlito's digging around, brings out an apple, and it gets a bigger pop than the fucking kendo stick that he brought out.
I love that.
Let's go. It's a fucking Fuji. Let's go.
I love that. Oh, thank God Carlito's back. I didn't like him when I was growing up, but that's because I was an idiot. I love it. Well, and I think he was a heel back in the day. And
yeah, he was like a Dom level heel too. Not a Dom level, but a Dom style, like a little shit eater heel, as opposed to like a big bad, you know?
Yeah, now he's like embraced the face in a lot of ways. So, and I think he's working with it, but with the apple bits, that was so good, and the crowd's loving it. Let's get that going.
I love the "We Want Apples." It was so good. We saw a legitimate headshot with a chair. Let's fucking go. That's a real. We don't see that a lot nowadays.
Was that when Santos went through the ropes, like about to go through the ropes, and then Carlito smacked him with the chair on top, or was that a little bit later?
It was pre-trash can, because they were unloading. They were unloading with the chair on the trash can, which is kind of like they've done that before as like a way of doing it. But I think it was Carlito came in there with a legitimate headshot, and we do not see that enough anymore. And I understand that, you know, concussions, yada, 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 but there is a way you can take a chair shot where you're mostly absorbing it with your forearms. And that was some old school, excellent timing where it looked fucking rough, but I replayed it a couple times, and absolute perfect choreography on both of them. But it was good to see that. You know, and it was another PG street fight with some solid, realistic violence. You know, this is the second, like you were talking about how this is the second week in a row we've had a street fight. That I frankly looked good.
It was all right. I think the only problem that I have with it was I wasn't really super connected with the storyline going on. But overall, it worked. It was fine.
Yeah. It was more LW no and LWO stuff. The LW no runs in. Carlito gets the kick out, even with the interference. LWO comes in. I did appreciate that they came in with no music. Always prefer that. The run out from the back with music almost always takes me out of it because it's just a little too fake for me. And then Ray comes out and he's limping with his crutches. He's still hurt, or is he?
Still hurt.
And saw that coming a mile away. Just starts unloading with that crutch too. Again, like fucking loading with that crutch, just teeing off. And these ones were back shots, traditional or modern traditional back shots, not head shots. But he snapped that thing in half, and I don't know if that thing was gimmicked. I think that was a legitimate crutch made out of aluminum that he broke over his back. He was wearing that stupid hard shell Ray mask.
Yeah, the hard shell
hate
mask.
Those masks.
I don't like those. Those look weird. It shapes his head weird. Just wear the regular mask.
And to be fair, I only feel that way about Ray. Other luchadors can rock it, but it feels weird to see Ray in the hard shell mask. I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm gonna double down. No.
You don't like him at all?
No. They make the head look weird. They make the head
look hard no
weird.
from you,
and
dog.
Like why? And why? Are you wearing a helmet? Like why are you wearing a helmet? All right, it's wrestling.
Yeah, it looks
fucking
weird.
Put cloth over your head. Get hit in the head. All right.
But yeah, all in all, it was a good reunion. It was a nice short street fight match, but they got some good stuff in that I appreciated. So now we go to New Catch Republic backstage with Aldis. They want another shot at the tag titles. Aldis
don't care about this.
Teasing something that he's cooking with Pierce. They're again interrupted by LA Knight looking for AJ, which again, I loved this whole bit. When he says he's got a custom hat for AJ and lifts the chair up. It's so stupid, but I'm here for it. So now we come to the last match of the night, sponsored by somebody. KO's coming out to guest commentate. It's going to be Theory versus Randy here. I really enjoy the way Randy portrays himself as a face, because he doesn't, kiss babies and shake hands like Cody. He comes out with that fucking swag. And the only real difference between him as like heel and face is like when he's heel Randy, he comes out with a frown and a 10,000 yard stare. But when he's face Randy, it's the same thing, but he's smiling and just walking a certain way. It's just very subtle, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Randy's like his kind of like character work recently. Because even in that little like shot that we had with Waller and Theory in the locker room, where he's just going off about like, how about I get in the ring with you or you, doesn't matter, and I just try to rip one of your heads off, and he just does this in this very animated sense that I don't think I've really seen before. Maybe he's done this back in the past, but he was just so animated and looked like he was having so much fun just being this dick. And then he smacks Austin Theory in the back. Just like, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
It looks like it hurt both of them in some way. And I love this character work that Randy is going for right now. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's part of
I think they're just giving him a nice short run as a face here. Like he inherently works better as a heel, in my opinion, unless you team him up with like someone who's so over the top. Like when he was RK Bro, when he was going around with what's his name? Why am I blanking on him? Riddle.
Riddle, yeah.
Like you need to have like an over the top person to soften him. He doesn't have a lot of legs as a traditional face, so it's just nice to appreciate it as we get it right now, because it's just so few and far between with Randy, and he's so natural. Like he really doesn't seem to give a fuck naturally, so it's nice to watch him work in this fashion.
Yeah, I don't know if like I've heard that same sentiment. Like, he looks like he doesn't give a fuck, but I think he does. There was a recent documentary. I think WWE just put a documentary out about Randy Orton, his kind of like evolution from who he was as a kid and like kind of growing up as a wrestler with his dad's history as well, kind of like trying to live up to that and becoming his own person, and being this guy who's never wanted any responsibility and has gone out of his way to just like fuck with people and be kind of like the bad boy of WWE. And then coming back around and being like such a real leader in the locker room, being a real person that all these guys can turn to and ask questions, and he's there for it. So
yeah,
he's grown up.
It's a triumphant story for Randy. You know, they put the belt on him way too young. He wasn't ready for it. That shit heel that he does naturally plays so well is because he was like a fucking piece of shit, cocky asshole when he was in his early 20s and he had already been champion and promoted and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he can really pull on that. And I think that's what makes him such a great heel when he is in heel mode.
If you ever have 5 minutes, go and look up Cody Rhodes stories about Randy Orton while they were touring together, because they would drive together.
Oh, yeah, because they were in a faction together at one point.
They were in a faction for a little bit, and Randy would just get them into the craziest shit. He would for our Canadian listeners, I guess some Americans, like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. Ricky from Trailer Park Boys would have this move where he would just say like, "Oh, Bob told me to come by and say that this is fine. I can take this." And he would just like throw random names at people. And Cody tells a story where Randy does the same thing to get into a club. He's just like, Jason said we can go in. And the bouncer's like, who? Jason who? Yeah, Jared.
Incredible.
Oh, Jared? Yeah, go. Yeah, come in. They just like go in.
It's so good.
Great stuff.
I got to see that. So this match, they show this is something I was going to touch on at the top of the program, but they showed it here, so I thought I'd leave it. They show the social media clip that they posted of Logan, just the camera on Logan from Elimination Chamber, where he's like, "Bro, I can't move," and he's just like, the referees are trying to get him out of the Elimination Chamber, and he won't go. And it's an extended cut. I encourage all of our listeners to go watch it if you haven't seen it.
I tricked you. I tricked you. I did.
No, you didn't. I knew. No, you didn't. But yeah, so we start off full offense from Randy. Quick commercial. Bit of a rough spot from the top rope where Randy slips.
Even acknowledge it. He acknowledges it. Like when he finally, like, there's a moment where he's got Theory down. There's a moment where he looks into the crowd and he just kind of like does a Randy shrug, like,
yeah,
can't win them all.
The impressive thing was Randy slips. Theory tries to turn it into a reversal, reads Randy's energy that Randy is still selling like he hit the move, and then sells it. Theory sells
the move. Sells the move.
Theory is so fucking good in the ring. And then right after that moment, they pop up on the screen and say Theory is a 72 in WWE 2K24, which is a travesty.
Oh, those rankings are all over the place.
No, absolutely. And you have to it's a spur of the moment thing that changes over the year, but like 72 is low for Theory. We're talking about a guy who beat John Cena less than a year ago, was the United States champion less than a year ago. That's real low for him. I don't really fully grasp that. Even his standing in the card right now, it seems low. But anyways, Theory, Waller, and KO are having a great time with their storyline. They're just fully invested, having such fun shit talking to each other and acting like children.
KO has really embraced this like childlike energy as part of his character. And you saw it like in the behind the scenes stuff at Elimination Chamber where he was like chirping Bobby Lashley and LA Knight and like really, really chirping Logan Paul, which is great. I love all of that. And then even during this match, like he's just acting like a big kid, big, scary bearded kid. And he's just like, bounce him off the table. Bounce him.
Yeah. Bounce him again.
in his French
the Quebecois accent just like peeking out from behind the curtain.
Yes. Oh, do you see how he bounced?
But yeah, it was a good Waller. Theory did like a Waller tribute where he was going to do the roll in to the cutter, and then he rolls in to the RKO. In Theory, just incredible athleticism and timing, just nails the move. Like, yes, Randy hits the move, but Theory, fucking, his movements are so on time. It looks so great. I can't speak more highly of Theory. So Owens comes in to defend Randy from Waller, and then Theory gets stunnered and then sells the fucking stunner like a champion.
Just incredible. The air he got with a little bit of a run while he's
wild.
In the air.
Absolutely wild. I just respect him so much. I think it's a controversial take, I think, to some extent, but he might be the best in-ring worker in the company right now, given his age and ability and athleticism. He is so good in the ring, and you can put him up against a luchador. You can put him against Rey Mysterio and do high-flying bullshit. You can put him in there with fucking Omos, and he'll sell Omos. Omos. He can run the gamut of anyone you put him in there with. It just reminds me of baseball. Like, there's something, like, I'm a big baseball fan. I don't know if I've covered it on the podcast. But they're like, the thing about baseball is like...
Hope you guys are ready for an 8-hour podcast now.
In baseball, it's not like some other sports where, like, in basketball and hockey and even soccer, where youth is so prioritized that, like, an 18-year-old can make the league and be effective, or a 19 or 20-year-old. Like, the athleticism is at such a premium that if you can be smart enough and quick enough to be in the league at a young age, they'll throw you in there. With baseball, it requires a certain skill set and repetition of movements and knowing how to work a count and pitch it, like to be up to bat and understand what you're going up against and play the mental game, that the peak is a little bit later in baseball typically. It's more like 25 or 26 when people start to get introduced. There's a lot of development. So that's how I feel about Theory, where, sometimes I shit talk early bloomers in baseball, and then I'll find out that they're only 24 and they've been in the league 5 years, and you're like, oh, they're so far ahead of schedule that, yes, they're not MVP level, but they're so ahead of the game right now that they're in their 5th or 6th year in the league when they should be there. Like, other people their age are starting their first. That's how I feel about Theory. Like, Theory is the same age as Dom, and he is leaps and bounds ahead of Dom, who I also respect in the ring. But Theory is on another fucking level, and this guy's not even close to his prime, because wrestling is like baseball, where it does require a certain level of mental gymnastics and understanding of the psychology and how to work a match, and not just go AEW style and go fucking 150% off the bell and nothing means anything. He really understands the psychology, even in a match, not just in a promo. I'm just so blown away by him. Yeah,
I'm going to start paying attention to him. You've sold, so I've never. It's not that I don't think he's great. I've always enjoyed an Austin Theory match, but now I think you sold me on, like, paying a little bit closer attention. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, every time those, like, complicated moves, like we were talking about with that somersault into the RKO that he did, it's always really picture perfect. Like, he knows when to time it just right.
Yeah.
To sell it.
Like, he's not flawless by any means, but he is very close, especially for the level of athleticism that he exhibits. Like, the stuff he goes for, he hits. You don't see a lot of him trying to shoot for the moon and landing on his face. He usually hits the moon. It's very impressive, and he's just as good of a seller as he is a buyer. Like, he'll sell a move. He's very unselfish in the ring. He's so willing to put people over and play his part. It's like he's got the attitude of Miz with the work rate of, like, a Jeff Hardy. It's just incredible. Like I have so much respect for him, and the more and more I watch, and the more in depth I watch, he's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got the look. He's such a great heel. I've never even really seen him as a face. I don't know if you could really do anything with him as a face anytime soon. I'm sure one of Waller or Theory is going to turn face. I don't know which one it's going to be. But I'm interested to see how they deal with that, with either one of them. But, lots of respect for Austin Theory, and I just wanted to wax poetic about him for a bit here. But that's it for SmackDown. Do you have anything else to touch on before we move into Raw?
No, let's blitz. Let's keep going. There's like half a Raw that I don't want to talk about.
I mean, there's a lot of Raw I'm not really too interested in talking about either. But yeah, so Raw, March 4th, live from the Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Cody's leading us off tonight. He comes out, massive fucking gigantic pop. He is just red hot right now. No matter where he goes, south, north, east, west, Canada, it doesn't matter. Australia, everywhere.
We're
just
in
wants
Cody
to
land now.
Yeah, absolutely. So he touches on the Twitter promo from The Rock and the SmackDown promo from the Bloodline in general. Says, don't ever talk about my dog. So confirmed, Cody Wick is a real thing.
Buy your tickets.
It's mostly just him recapping the Rock saga so far since he came back, particularly post-Rumble. Cody's trying to reclaim the Crybaby's nickname, like other words have been reclaimed by other people who have been subjugated by white people.
That is an interesting comparison to make with Cody Rhodes.
I know, yeah, the whitest man on earth. I always say, like I've said it to you, and I've said it to other people who I know who watch wrestling. I can't believe how much I cheer for this man with this awful fucking neck tattoo. I don't mind it. I like the neck tattoo. Am I insane? Am I insane? I think you are. So. I think it's fucking terrible. It's so
no
bad.
way. Me with 4 podcasts, a band, and fucking writing. I care.
So cringe.
What the fuck is? Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm.
So he calls Rollins in. He calls Rollins in as his friend and introduces him. I think Rollins might be circling back a little bit for me, almost like a Family Guy bit. I feel like with Rollins, I go like it's like his dumb shit character annoys me when he gets all jokery and laughy, but it's like Family Guy where he's hit it with me so many times that I've now circled back to being like, I think I'm into this. He's gonna keep going, and I'm gonna go back to going, I hate this. Why are we doing this? But I'm kind of on Team Rollins right now. When Rollins is serious, he's very good at it. When he's in dumb shit Joker mode, I get frustrated. But the whole him not wrestling too much and being more involved with talking and the Bloodline stuff, which is ultra serious, I've enjoyed him more lately. Like, I've stated on this podcast, I don't hate Rollins. I love him. I love his in-ring work. I just don't like the character. And I understand it's over, and that's fine with me. If the crowd loves it, keep going. Keep singing the song. That's cool. It's just not for me. But I am kind of circling back around to it a little bit more, I think, because it's in smaller doses. He's being more serious.
Yeah, he's being a little bit more serious here and there. And he's selling that seriousness. Like, he's a good actor. Like, he's got, like, a solid chops when he's on the mic. I would say even a touch better than Cody as well.
Oof, wow, strong words. But
Cody's a little sappy. Let's be real here. Cody's a little, like, you know.
Well, he's just such a straight baby, you know?
He's such a straight baby. But don't let him talk about his dad because his lip will start quivering.
Straight baby. Yeah, Cody gives a little exposition on his thought process on doubling back and going after Roman. Gives Seth a chance to back out of all of this and on having his back in this fight. And Rollins is going to stick to his word. Cuts a decent promo up until the point where he tries to make Diarrhea Dwayne a thing.
Oh,
and
God.
That was incredibly lame. The crowd went with it. They started chanting Diarrhea, but Diarrhea Dwayne, like, Seth, what are you doing, bud?
That sucked.
The Rock just cut a Twitter promo where he was swearing left and right and saying "fuck your story," and then he called everyone crackheads, and then you're coming out with diarrhea, Dwayne. It does not track, bro. It's not the same level.
What is that?
Oh, it was really rough. Hopefully they just move on from that.
Yeah, you should. And he did. Like, they got the. You had the crowd saying it, which is fine because you can say anything that the crowd can chant, and they'll just start doing it. But then they abandoned it pretty much immediately. So I don't think we'll see that again. Yeah. I think, actually, you know what? I think we will see it once more coming Friday. This next SmackDown. We'll probably have The Rock mention it or some sort of
tear it apart
comment about it. Yeah,
rightfully so.
Or rework it to be something that he can use against Seth. Maybe even just talk about like how lame it was, because it was.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going with that. But he announces that he has clearance to wrestle, which I'm pretty sure he already did, like say that like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. But that's not important. He will be at SmackDown. He will be at SmackDown to confront the Bloodline. Asks if Cody has his back. Cody says he's going to be there and says it in a really great way for wrestling. Anything else you want to touch on this before we keep going?
No, it was good. It wasn't nearly as impactful as The Rock's 30 minutes of Rock time that
yeah, certainly not. Especially coupled with the Twitter promo.
I mean, Cody, you can call somebody a crackhead. It doesn't have to be the town you're in.
Call Solo a crackhead.
Call Solo a crackhead. I mean, that's
shit on the entire island of Samoa. Just take a big old shit. Right, there's only like 40,000 people there. It's fine.
Let's go. Let's do it. It'll be good. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, Cody.
So then we move into a Gunther Dom non-title match they set up last week. McAfee's on the desk trying to curry favor with Gunther, which was interesting. This whole thing was interesting.
It's a non-title match, but it's one-on-one.
It's a non-title match. The crowd was decidedly behind Gunther. I have no doubt that the crowd understands and respects his abilities, and they boo him because that's the script. Everyone loves Gunther. We all love him. Anyone who's a wrestling fan must appreciate Gunther. He's a real throwback, but he's the best representation of 80s wrestling that there is right now in the WWE.
I love his theme.
He's got a little bit of the gimmick foreigner stuff going on, but he's legitimately a foreigner, which makes it a little bit more realistic. He wrestles like a traditionalist, but he also has a motor and can go for ages. He will do the odd top rope spot or whatever when necessary, and it really has an impact because he picks his spots. He doesn't have a finisher. He just beats the shit out of people and beats them in different ways. So people respect him, and I assume that's why they were so willing to cheer for him over Dom. I think it's an interesting move by the WWE here because I think they maybe are throwing this match out there to kind of gauge what the reaction would be if they turned Gunther face, whether it's in the short term or the long term. Gunther pretty much started off dominating. Dom was doing a great job selling some heavy slaps.
Heavy chops.
When Gunther ripped the shirt off of him, and slapped him, that was incredible. Dom really held his own here, really stepped up and had a great match. He had a nice spot with Gunther onto the floor off the top. Dom trying to continue the chop fest against Gunther was a great little bit of storytelling that was just so ridiculous. Like, why do you keep trying to do this? Gunther pinning him and then pulling him out of the 3 count and then beating so he could beat the living hell out of him.
And getting a pop from that. Getting a pop from that too, because that is such a heel move to like stop the count and pick him back up.
Absolutely. And then get a pop for it.
And get a pop. Because we're all like, I mean, Dom, like it would only work because it's Dom.
Exactly.
And we all just want to see Dom just get the shit kicked out of him. We're like, do it again.
Yeah,
Kill
absolutely.
Him. Kill him.
He picks him up for a power bomb and almost puts him through the mat.
It was brutal.
Like, absolute props for Dom. He sold the shit out of all of this and got the piss beat out of him. Legit. And that power bomb was like the pièce de résistance. He got crushed. Gunther put everything into that. It is what it is. But it's just very interesting to see them book this match. Like, no one really gets over on this. But I think it might, again, just be a litmus test here for, can we turn Gunther face?
Yeah.
Or maybe they were just like, let's put these two heels together and see who the crowd's more willing to cheer for so we can gauge reaction when we have to make a move in a month, 6 months, a year, whatever. But all in all, a pretty big nothing burger. I do want to kind of circle back around to it, though, because later we do get Imperium fighting against JD, and I want to touch more on that when we get there. But do you have anything else specifically about this match you want to talk about?
Nope, let's keep her going.
So we got Damage Control in the back, and I know it's a bit xenophobic, but it is nice for me to have Dakota Kai as the mouthpiece.
To have somebody that speaks fluent English.
Yeah,
other segments other than subtitled Shinsuke promos.
Yeah, like I don't like. Again, I'm not nothing. I love Japanese wrestling, and I love anime. I love Japanese media. I will watch New Japan. But like,
this is how you know Tyler's going to say something horrible.
Exactly. No, I'm just saying, like, it's just like it has its place, and it's almost like I have to change my brain when I do that.
See,
like when I watch,
it has his plates. I'm going to isolate that, you motherfucker.
When I watch, like, One Piece or Dragon Ball or any number of or One Punch Man, my brain kind of reforms to observe it through a different lens. Like there's just different. Shut the fuck up.
You're not making anything better.
Stop burying me. I'm just saying that, like, the rules are different. When I'm watching Dragon Ball, I'm suspending disbelief. Even the cartoonish rules of these universes are different than the cartoonish rules of North America, right? It's just a different frame of reference and view, and that's kind of like how when I watch Japanese wrestling, it's just a different. There's different rules. There's different everything, right? So it's nice to have Dakota out there to be the mouthpiece for them, which is what, again, it's something I've talked about on this podcast that I thought was coming eventually, was the Dakota turn, because it just makes more sense for her to be the mouthpiece of the group. Again, so that we don't have just Shinsuke-esque, subtitled promos, which I'm all here for. But I really can't imagine the larger WWE universe being specifically in America. I can't imagine someone in some backwater hick in Alabama is loving the Shinsuke subtitled promos as much as I am.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That's my point. Anyways, we'll keep going. Shinsuke, in fact, interrupts this. Because DC's talking with Damage Control's talking with Pierce, so Shinsuke interrupts. He wants the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. Pierce teases the announcement for later on, which we'll get to eventually. So now we have Baszler and Stark versus Carter and Chance. Will?
Screw this. Keep going. I don't care if they dance.
Quickly, I just want to say, DC's at ringside for some reason, blocking the view of the announcers. Some solid, unique offense by both Baszler and Stark. They really look good as a tag. They're really coming around and working very well together. I'm sure they're doing the house show run too. They're really introducing some unique aspects to their teaming. I just want to say, like, Carter and Chance, the stuff they do is different and cool, but they need to get better. They need to get quicker. They need to get cleaner. Baszler is a fucking pro. I want to say that too. She should be female Stone Cold. They're wasting her. I don't understand why she's coming out in her gear, her look. I both of these people, Baszler and Stark, should be women's Stone Cold tag team. They should come out in that would work jeans and better. Boots and leather and wife beaters. Sorry, crop tops. No, what's the non-offensive word for a wife beater?
Tank top.
Tank top should come out in tank tops, and they should just be badasses who are doing the exact same thing they're doing in the ring, and the exact same thing they're doing on the mic, and the exact same thing they're doing on backstage, just with a more realistic portrayal of them.
I am counting the days. I am counting the days here until R-Truth confuses Baszler and Stark with Ciampa and And who's the other guy? Ciampa and
Johnny Gargano.
Gargano. Yeah, he's gonna confuse them one day. He's gonna like, hey,
I'm here
Ciampa.
for it. I love it.
And it's just Baszler going like, what?
So yeah, Baszler and Stark get the quick win, a decently quick win. DC comes in, Dakota's on the mic, doing some great heel work, some traditional heel work, shitting on the city.
Shit about the town, yeah.
Saying Kabuki Warriors are going to come back and defend the title next week against them, which kind of disappoints me because I don't think they're going to do the title change on a random Raw, but maybe there'll be some interference and building to a match at Mania. We'll see. Dom's getting some attention in the backstage from the medical and Judgment Day's there. Priest says that they're going to take care of Imperium and then fucking sacrifices JD McDonough to get even with Gunther. Yeah. So this seems like they're putting even more face stuff in front of Gunther here because I cannot imagine JD McDonough is going to get cheers over Gunther. So I'm starting to kind of think a little bit more about maybe what are they pushing with Gunther here? What direction are they headed?
Well, there was something else in this segment here where Dom and Priest, I think it was Dom and Priest, they were speaking Spanish to each other and they didn't subtitle it. They didn't let the crowd know what was going on. And JD McDonough was like, what are you guys talking about? And Priest is like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Right. They are in San Antonio too.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's definitely people who knows what's going on there. And I haven't looked it up, but maybe, I mean, I could look it up and see if there was anything else going on there.
I don't think it was anything too important, or I think it'd be more obvious.
Damn, because I was wondering if there was going to be like a JD betrayal. They were like, yeah, you know what? You're not going to cut it either. Betrayal.
I think JD's going to betray. I've spoken about that theory a bunch of times, though. For some reason, Andrade just pokes his head around the corner to touch base with Dom. Okay, sure.
This happened twice now. It's happened. It's happened.
What
here
are we doing
and it happened
with this?
Last week here. It could be. If we like, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But this could be just sprinklings. But this could be an avenue to turn Dom face. Like maybe Andrade is like, these guys are not good for you.
Oh yeah, maybe I could see the path for that.
You know, because like Dom clearly has respects.
Right,
yeah, I mean, like I love.
Maybe it's
Dom.
a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
LTV.
I didn't think about that, but I like that. So then we get into Becky versus Nia. Nia's getting a tad better in the ring. You know, I talked about it with her EC match. Becky's overselling the stank face. Nia starts strong. Becky working back, just like every fucking Nia match ever. There's a rough looking missile drop kick from the top. Not sure if that was on Becky or Nia, but it was just a full miss by like 3 feet. The Samoan drop on the floor was massive into the break. Becky just fucking eating all of Nia. Out of the break, Becky's looking for the superplex off the top, but gets countered. Decent match here. Nia's looking a little stiff, but, she's looking better until Liv comes out. So, Nia misses the Annihilator into the Disarmer. Very rough reversal by Nia out onto the floor. Bush League shit. Liv interferes, takes out Nia. Liv and Becky start arguing. Nia pulls out Liv and then tries to put Becky into the post on her back and just fucking whiffs and just drops Becky on her head from however tall Nia Jax is. And I went, oh man, why did I even write she's been looking better in the first place? Like, can you please stop hurting the people who actually make money for this company, Nia?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Nia steals a man's hat after missing the flip. She tries to knock the hat off of him and just whiffs on it.
Yeah, and just takes
the thing. She just does the thing where she goes to knock his peak off and then just fucking misses it completely. So then she grabs the hat and then doesn't really know what to do with it. And she just kind of throws it. And I'm like, oh my god, she's so bad. Can we keep going? Do we need to say any more? We shit on Nia every week. I'm starting to feel bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm at a point now where I feel like this is bullying.
But it's just so warranted. Is it bullying if it's warranted? Probably, yeah. But anyways. Ricochet's complaining to Pierce about the IC JD McDonough interrupts, and JD gets cut off by the commercial break in a really awkward way. Liv and Becky are arguing backstage, yada yada. This is the raw shit that happens when it's a 3-hour long show. You just gotta fill shit. So Pierce comes in. Yeah, Pierce comes in, zeroes in on 6 men that he feels have a chance to go after the Intercontinental Championship. We got Ricochet, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, JD McDonough, Bronson Reed, and Shinsuke Nakamura. They're going to compete in a gauntlet match for a shot at Mania. Kind of a dumb gimmick here, given the circumstances. I'd rather have this than a 6-man fuck around where everyone's just fucking fighting each other.
Like a battle royale, yeah.
Give a reason for the entrance order. Say, hey JD, you suck. You have to go in first. Hey Gable, you've already had 2 shots at the Intercontinental Championship. You lost them both, so you have to go in and start against JD. Bronson Reed, you've never had a shot, so you get to go in last. Some realistic reason for the order of the gauntlet. I'd rather have a tournament, or even like 2 triple threat matches, and then the winner of each fight each other. But whatever, they're strapped for time. Give it to me. I don't give a shit. So now we got the Andrade debut. Cole did a nice job here, giving some backstory rub, kind of introducing people that didn't know much about Andrade, exactly what he's about, where his history's from. I thought it was pretty good. They have him up against Apollo Crews, so I'm thinking it's not going to be a full squash match here. He's going to get the win, but it should be at least a little bit more balanced than fucking, what was his name? Xyon. I already forgot Quinn? His name. Xyon Quinn. It's going to be more balanced than that. You can literally see people in the background walking out to have their piss break because they're like, oh, okay, Andrade versus Cruz. We see where this is going. I'm gonna go. Take this.
Yeah, which kind of sucks because they've been kind of hyping up Andrade a little bit, and I'm excited to see Andrade. I've never seen his previous work, so I was like, all right, let's see.
Yeah, so the handshake at the beginning of the match was interesting because they've kind of been putting Andrade down the middle right now. They're not really committing him to heel or face. Really, really solid Shawn Michaels / Ric Flair corner spot variation where he, did the front flip into the buckle and then spun out and landed on his feet on the side of the ring. I thought that was very well done.
Yep.
Sorry, I just got a weird text message. Yeah, and he nailed the 3 Amigos for the first time on television in like how many years? Of course, it wasn't for the 3 count, but it was nice to actually see the 3 Amigos get
has he struggled
completion.
With the 3 Amigos in the past? Or is it just
no, I just mean how Dom, every time Dom does the 3 Amigos, he only gets 2 in before it's reversed. Like he never lands the 3rd one.
No wonder Dom is like being buddy with Andrade. He's just like, you can teach me how to do this. You can teach me to do this to Gunther, right? Right? Can you imagine? That'd be hilarious.
I love that. So yeah, it was a solid semi-squash match. It was really clean by both of them. I mean, Cruz is a great hand in the ring. His time has passed. I think he's more of a producer at this point, but still pretty solid all around. A good showcase of Andrade's abilities. Got a few spots. And any thoughts you want to add?
Nope.
So we move on to Jackie Redmond and Sami Zayn, part 17. Just a couple Canadians cutting it up, bud. Just Canadians in the back.
Could have been a contender.
Shooting the shit. Sammy's excited to have a path to Mania. It's getting a touch repetitive, but I do like the Sami Zayn natural promos. I like how they don't feel scripted. It does seem like he's going off the top of his head. He's interrupted by the Vikings. There's a bit of weak messaging here. It's setting up a win by Sammy, which is good. I don't know that for sure at this point, but I wrote it down. Sammy's going to beat Ivar and give him a nice little rub here because he's been losing a lot of matches lately and he needs some rub going into this gauntlet match for Mania.
Holy fuck, there's still so much show. I'm just looking at the...
I know, that's why I'm trying to pound through it here. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae are panicking backstage, and then Natty, Neidhart, and Knox are starting to crack, which has been building for way too long, and no one cares. And then Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile show up for some reason, and LeRae's throwing mad shade at Maxine, which honestly we all are. Did you hear about that story about Maxine getting booed real hard at a house show?
I know, and I feel horrible about her. I think we talked about it maybe last week, and I feel horrible about it. I don't think she deserves it. I love Maxine.
I think she absolutely deserves it.
Fuck you.
I mean,
heart of gold.
You want to learn? Absolutely. Love her in that role. If you want to learn how to wrestle, hey, go do it on the indies. Go do it on NXT. Go do it on 205 Live if that still exists. I don't fucking need to watch you learn how to wrestle on Monday Night Raw. Sorry, not sorry. It's not her fault. She's being pushed into it. I really enjoy her work with Alpha Academy as a mouthpiece, but I don't enjoy her work in the ring. She's bad at wrestling. Go learn how to wrestle, and then you can wrestle.
You said it. She's being pushed into it. All right?
I feel bad on that aspect. Then we get Priest and Finn versus Kaiser and Vinci in a non-title match, which I always kind of hate, because, what the fuck is the point of the belt?
What's the point? What's the point if you're not going to defend it?
Unless you do every single SmackDown and Raw, unless it's main event, then it's a non-title, then I kind of get it, but they're kind of in between right now on that with WWE, so I don't love it. This match really doesn't do anything for anyone story-wise, so I'm a little confused as to why it's happening going into it. They really accentuate Priest in this match. He was dominating every time he was on offense and in the ring. They did that nice little double shot in the corner on Finn. It was like a less violent version of what they did last week with the New Day. It was very well timed by Vinci and Kaiser. Imperium is not getting over Finn and Priest like Gunther did. Very interesting. Priest and Balor were the good guys. They were getting the rub. They were getting the pops. People were cheering for them, which doesn't happen a lot for them right now. But, again, very interesting booking here. I'm not sure if they anticipated this reaction. Like Gunther being over Dom and Priest and Balor being over Imperium. I'm just not too sure why this was done. I hope it's for a reason. I hope it's not just arbitrary bullshit. And they're testing out some possible turns in the future, but I thought it was interesting, the crowd reaction, how Gunther was getting cheered for, but Priest and Balor were getting cheered for in this match.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything to add here.
Fair enough. We'll keep going. Yeah. I also love the Telestrator bit where they
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12 feet. Cole's putting over Heyman for the Hall of Fame induction, and I was kind of touched and choked up about it. I really appreciated Cole breaking character, or breaking, kayfabe, and talking about Heyman as a person and as an entity outside of his character on television. I thought that was very well done, and I appreciated it, and I like that. I think we're at a point with wrestling where even the 7-year-olds, I'm not sure how many of them even believe it's real nowadays. So it's nice for them to feel like they can address the adults in the room and say things like that without, breaking the storyline.
Scream in their ear.
Yeah, exactly. And then we move on to Jackie and Drew in the back. Drew calls Rollins an attention junkie and just delivers a great promo, shitting all over Jay. Not much to say here. Just more Drew being fucking incredible. He's going to shitpost his way to a championship at Mania, and I'm fucking here for it.
Let's do it.
He's the man. DC and Rhea are backstage. Do a little stare down. Rhea says, "Stay out of my territory," and Io looks like a fucking baby beside her. Rhea looks like she would just stomp her with her boot. That's who we need as our next undisputed champion, is Rhea with both belts. I'm fucking all in on that, let me tell you. And then we move on to Sammy and Ivar, and like I said, I'm pretty sure Sammy's going to get a nice tight win here to kind of push him on the way to what is potentially going to be an Intercontinental Championship spot at Mania and give him that Mania moment. Yeah. I think they're going to put on a show here. I'm anticipating a show. These guys can both go. Love it at the beginning. Cole gets the antlers. It's a little bit, again, breaking kayfabe a little bit, but I'm kind of fucking here for it. It was a lot of fun.
And Cole got like the biggest pop ever, at least for him.
Yeah,
he put on the antlers, and the whole crowd just went like, "Yes!"
And he says Ivar may destroy Sami Zayn tonight because he's got the antlers, and I love that.
So
huge pop for Cole. Huge pop for Cole.
When did this start? For the
probably like a month and a half ago. It was before Kevin Patrick got fired, so probably about a month and a half ago when he started.
Was that Rumble? I remember like at Rumble when Valhalla came out with the antlers, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know, guys. She's got the antlers on. Things might go south here." And then R-Truth comes out, and the rest is history. So I love this bit. I hope that the Vikings like this bit, because I don't think it's facetious and mean-spirited at all. I fucking love it. I love it. It's so funny to me.
The only thing I didn't like about it was Cole throwing a little bit of shade at JR was a little weird. I don't know if he just like misspoke for effect. I mean, I've been there before. I've said things that I immediately went, oh, fuck, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I was trying to do it for effect, but I'm shitting over someone that I actually like and respect.
It's possible.
They might not. It's true. But yeah, throwing shade at the silly cowboy hat was a little weird.
It's a gimmick. I mean, but I don't know. I didn't catch it, so I don't know exactly what Cole said there. It could have been a slip, but it could also be just a friendly jab. Just a little like,
it's true. By two rival people. Well, I'm not entirely sure what they're looking at as far as like their relationship right now, but so it's again, this pretty much goes the way I thought it would. We got some nice reversals, some solid wrestling by both people. Ivar is incredibly talented in the ring. He really needs to ditch the gimmick. They really need to go with something more authentic for him. He's so good in the ring. I don't know where you go with him is, I guess, the problem, and probably the problem that they're having as well. And they're just kind of biding time until Eric comes back, I assume.
Biker? Maybe you can do Biker?
But like, I don't know what you do with him. I guess that's the problem, right? Like, look at Otis and fucking Bronson and some of the other big men. They're not really doing any better either. Wrestling is just not really in the big meat zone right now. So, but like, that's the thing, is Ivar doesn't wrestle like, neither does Eric. They both don't really wrestle like that. They wrestle like, 300-pound cruiserweights. So that's why I love them so much. It's just, I just wish they would really kill the Viking gimmick. Sami gets the win with the hell of a kick. Bronson Reed comes in to stir some shit for some reason. Okay, yeah, you're in the IC match next week. Whatever, I don't give a fuck about that. Then we cut to Kathy Kelly and Gunther backstage. Gunther is ready to take on whoever wins the gauntlet match. And then Gable walks in and kind of gets like a 55% boo and a 45% cheer. Right. I'm not sure if that's like this crowd or it's the general sentiment of the fan base, or it was interesting to me to hear that reaction, or maybe they were just kind of feeding off of the match earlier in the night. Did you track that at all? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I think I did, but I didn't really like think about it too much. Like, I know he was heel back in the day, so maybe some people just remember him from doing heel stuff. Alpha Academy hasn't been doing much lately. Yeah, don't know how to take that, but it was weird to see him try to go for an IC, but they're trying to fill out that card. Yeah, it was a bit strange,
but whatever. So Jay's, then we move on to Jay cutting a promo straight to camera with some good framing, and those Yeet sunglasses are fucking fire.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him kind of turn it down a little bit as well. I've complained here the last couple weeks about he's a little unhinged. Kind of seems like he's on meth or like coke or something. Like he's just fucking going wild man Randy Savage style, and this was a little bit more reserved and straight to the point, which was better in my opinion. Made it a little bit more serious too. And then we get a weird WWE 2K24 / Regeneration X promo by R-Truth and HBK and Triple H and the New Day. Yeah. And then we get another Telestrator Antler bit. another telestrator bit with the antlers on Cole, which was great. But what the fuck is antler juice? What they're talking about?
Cum.
Antler juice?
They were talking about cum. Yeah,
Thanks.
that's what.
Good to know. Good to know.
That was what it was going for. I just want to make sure that everybody knows what Pat McAfee was talking about, so that when this inevitably shows up at some point in Pat McAfee's future WWE career, he was talking about cum on national television. And Cole tries to save it too. He's just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, because Cole knows.
Because Cole knows what antler juice is.
Yeah, because Cole knows he's on PG television right now, and he's trying to play it off, and then McAfee realizes, you can hear McAfee realizing that, like, oh shit, that the other McAfee from the podcast just showed up. I'm not supposed to be that guy. I'm supposed to be this different McAfee that stands on tables and says yeet and dances.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. It was an interesting 15 seconds of television that I definitely watched a little too many times.
A little strange, right?
Antler juice.
And then we got Jay and Drew in the main event. Drew with the yeet to the camera after yeeting Jay over the announce table was fucking great. I love this man. Not much to say about this match, really. It was a balanced, professional WWE style match until it gets ruined by Solo coming in from the crowd and staring at his thumb, and fucking Cody's music hits and everyone's brawling, and Jay starts coming back and Jimmy comes out of the crowd, and it's just, Drew ends up with the win on another interference. Jimmy brings in a chair. Seth music's hits. They chase off Jimmy. Drew claymores the shit out of him, which was great. Yeah. And then McIntyre's yelling into the camera about CM Punk chants. But you pointed out something to me before I watched this, and I think you might have been right. I think they may have been chanting DM Hunk.
I think it might have been DM Hunk. Because I love DM Hunk. And I think he's also, because he cut he shot a video of him outside the arena in his car. And the tweet was like, they're not saying boo. It was another Simpsons reference, which was great. He was like, they're not saying boo. They're saying boo earns. They're saying boo earns. As he's driving around, he's in his truck and he's driving around the lineup outside the stadium, blasting In Living Color.
It's so good.
And just laughing at people, just going, ha 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 ha. And he's like, DM Hunk's back, baby.
Weird to spend such little time on the main event, but it really wasn't much to say for something that it was pretty bog standard. They had a really good match until everyone ran in and everything went to shit. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on with that, or Raw in general?
Nope. I just maybe more antler juice near the end there. Maybe we can get more antler juice.
We need more antler juice. You heard it. You heard it here first.
Can we get that bottle in Prime?
Ooh, Antler Juice Logan? Prime could sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I'd buy a lot of it.
All right, well, we've reached the end of our episode, which is, you know what time it is. It's time to play a game. Time to play the game. All right, let's cue this up. Here we go. Okay. All right.
What else does Will not know about wrestling? Let's see. All right.
I tried this. It was a complete miss. Now I am so happy that I'm me. Aw, baby. Woo-hoo. That is the guy I used to be. I tried this. It was a complete miss. Now I am so happy that I'm me. Ah, baby. Woo-hoo. That is the guy I used to be. Things that I said I wouldn't do, I did them. I really did strongly consider doing the entire rap. But I'm like, that is way too much work to get all of these lyrics nailed down and have to do it on the fly.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And go with a 2-minute intro. All right, well, this is the guy I used to be. This is the game that we're going to play this week. Of course, every time we play this game, it's the game where Will always loses, and there are no prizes anyways. So, Will, I am going to give you a selection of gimmicks for wrestlers that are famous now, and I want you to guess multiple choice who had this gimmick. So we're going to start off with, first I'm going to give you the gimmick name, and I'm going to see if you know it without getting the multiple choice. If you get it just off the name alone, I'll give you 2 points. So we're going to have 5 questions. Actually, we're going to have 6 questions here, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The 6th one is a gimme. So you're going to have some bonus points at the end here.
Well, we'll see. Like people have thrown me lowball questions before, and I fucked it up for everybody, and I've been hated. At trivia
I can almost guarantee you're going to get number 6.
So any sort of pressure.
I don't even have multiple choice written down. Okay. First one, Will. Husky Harris. Do you know who Husky Harris was?
Oh, God. No.
Okay.
No.
I can give you multiple choice. I got multiple choice prepared here. I'm just going to give you an opportunity to get them on the top. So your multiple choice is A, Otis. B, Bray Wyatt. C, Bronson Reed. That name again is Husky Harris. Which one of these people was Husky Harris?
I'm going to try Otis.
Oh, Will, that was one of the easy ones. Oh, no. That is incorrect. That was Bray Wyatt, who portrayed Husky Harris on television. I was wondering if maybe you would have crossover with that era, but I guess you were probably out by that point.
I only know him as Fiend or as Bray Wyatt.
I encourage you to look up the Husky Harris gimmick, because it's like kind of terrible, but also not bad. But the name is so bad that it makes the whole thing bad. Okay, question number 2, Will. Prototype, or the Prototype. Do you know who once went... Oh, see, I thought you might get that one, because I know you were watching that OVW show for a bit.
Yeah.
That's a big win for Will. So that's 2 points for Will. So technically he's 2 for 2. Question number 3, Will. Leviathan.
Oh. It sounds familiar, but what are my options here?
Your options are A, Brock Lesnar, B, Goldberg, or C, Batista.
Batista.
Oh, and he nails another OVW staple. Once known as Leviathan when learning how to wrestle in OVW.
Didn't he look like fucking weird back then too? Like, wasn't he like chains around his neck or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a corny gimmick, right? So it was kind of over the top, old school wrestling, Mid-South style. Question number 4, Will. This is one of my favorite ones. It lives in my head permanently. I don't know if you know about this. So the wrestling gimmick was Terra, Terra, Rising. Ryzing. Terra Rising.
Okay. This sounds familiar.
You want the multiple choice?
Let's do the multiple choice.
Okay, is it A, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, B, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, or C, Triple H?
Ooh. Those are all good.
Terra Rising.
I'm going to go with Triple H.
Oh, and Will nails it. Terra Rising was his name, his first name. He went by a variation of them. There was the Terrorizer, Terra Rising. Really, really bad gimmick.
That's crazy.
Not the CEO of WWE is Terra Rising. All right, Will, number 5. I don't know how this is pronounced, but I think it's leaky. Just straight up. Leaky.
Do not know this one.
Oh, you know this one?
No, do not know this one.
Okay, leaky. Leakee. It might be lakey, but I think it's just leaky. And from now on, I'm going to do my best to call this man leaky as we move forward. Is it A, Jimmy Uso, B, Roman Reigns, or C, Solo Sikoa? Leaky.
Which Uso was it?
Jimmy Uso.
I think it's Jimmy. I have a feeling it's Jimmy.
You're going to go with Jimmy? Well, it is fucking Roman Reigns' name in development.
Roman Reigns?
Was leaky.
Wow, what the fuck is that?
It's so bad. It was in Florida Championship Wrestling, and he was leaky.
As my tribal leaky.
It probably means something super badass in Samoan, but it sounds ridiculous. All right, Will,
wow.
Bonus question, which you're going to nail right off the top. But any opportunity I get to bring up this man, I'm going to bring him up. He's the man, the myth, the legend, one of the greatest independent wrestlers of all time. Wrestled from Vancouver Island to PEI, down to Florida, and over to San Diego. He is the man named Sexton Hardcastle.
Oh, fuck.
Come on, Will. Don't hurt me like this.
No,
you got this. You got this. He's Canadian. He has a massive chin.
Oh, Edge.
There we go. Sexton Hardcastle, baby. And I was praying and hoping so badly that when he signed for AEW, he was going to go by Sexton Hardcastle. It was never going to happen. But I really wanted it to happen.
The rated R superstar, Sexton Hardcastle.
Sexton Hardcastle. All right, that's it for this week, guys. Please go out, rate and review our podcast. It really does mean something. If you're one of our friends listening to this, if you're some nobody living in a box, every little bit helps. If you write some words, it helps even more. Tell your friends, tell your family, anyone who's a wrestling fan to come on over to 141 and 2/3%, the internet's premier wrestling podcast. We're working on it. We're going to get there. Please email us at 14123%@gmail.com. I want to hear your opinions. I want you to yell at me and say you're wrong about this. I want you to give me the correct pronunciation of leaky. I'm here for it all day, every day. Will, do you have any plugs for us this week?
No. Go see Dune Part 2. That shit rocks.
Go see Dune. I went and saw it. It was good. It was really good.
Fuck up.
It was really good.
I brought every friend I had to that IMAX theater.
There's a little last season Game of Thrones-ness to it with the rushing. But they executed a lot better than that. So I will say, I personally didn't have a problem with it. I could see how a layman would be confused by some of the pacing and time jumps. But I really liked it, and that fucking fight at the end, no spoilers, is incredible. It's worth the price of admission. All right, guys, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice. We'll see you next week.